A jury has sided with Johnny Depp in the defamation trial against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. This was big news yesterday. It's been big news for weeks and weeks and weeks. The jury awarded him $10 million in compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages. Virginia law caps punitive damages at $350,000, meaning Johnny Depp will be awarded $10.35 million. Now, he sued Amber Heard, his ex-wife, over a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she called herself a public figure representing domestic abuse. Heard then countersued for $100 million. For more on this and to really discuss the verdict in this case, I'm joined right now by criminal attorney and former prosecutor David Gelman to give us more of the insight of this verdict. David, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, Andrew. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Let's go ahead and get your thoughts on the outcome of this trial. It was going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And your thoughts, was it unexpected? Was it expected?
In my opinion, I think it was very expected. Looking at what the lawyers for both sides did, I think Johnny Depp's attorneys did an excellent job in showing that Amber Heard was maybe not in the right state of mind a lot of times, and really that it caused a lot of damage to his reputation by putting the things in the Washington Post op-ed. On the other hand, did Amber Heard's attorneys do a great job? I don't think they did. They were always on defense. They were never on offense. All they had to really prove was that she was hurt, either physically or emotionally or even financially, and they really never even did that. They always kept chasing Johnny Depp's attorneys, and in my opinion, that's what happened in this matter. Is why Johnny Depp is the winner, Amber Heard is the loser.
What about in terms of this case and how long the jury deliberated? Did you think it was long? Did you think it was quick? Where did you stand on this? And then I guess there's some difference of thought as the longer it is, it means it's more for the defense or the prosecutor. I mean, where do you stand on all that? Because a lot of people were trying to guess where this was going to go.
You never know what's going to happen with the jury. They could decide a verdict within 10 minutes after getting the case, or it could take weeks, potentially months. In this situation, I think they had so much evidence to go about and look at, because this trial was a 7-week trial. So you had testimony 2 times from both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. You had audio recordings, you had videos, you had text messages, you had experts who testified. They had a lot of evidence that they had to look at, and they may not have remembered everything from the first week until the other day. So I don't think it was unusual at all for the jury to deliberate for as long as they did. Could they have deliberated longer, and would I have been surprised? No. Would I have been surprised if it was a very quick deliberation? Then I would have thought something was up. But because they took the time, they took their and had a lot of patience, I think that it was they all went about it the correct way. And I think they made a decision that, in my opinion, I think was the right decision. But I don't feel that they did anything wrong with that situation.
Where did Amber Heard go wrong here? I remember marking the fact that she fired her PR person mid-trial, and you mentioned that her attorneys really were outshined, I guess, by Johnny Depp's attorneys. Did it really come down to that? Was it other things, perhaps testimony when she took the stand? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I don't know. I don't really put a lot of stock in that. And she fired her publicity individual. That I don't really think mattered. But the attorneys, I just don't think served her well, in my opinion. They made her. They didn't really make her look like the victim in this matter. Again, all they had to show was that she was hurt physically or emotionally or financially, and they never really pounded on that issue, if you will. They always were just chasing what Johnny Depp's attorney said, and I think that really hurt. And I don't think she really looked great on the stand, in my opinion, credibility-wise. And I think Johnny Depp did. And look, I don't have a horse in this race. I'm just looking at it as an outsider. But if I was a juror, that's what I would be looking at, the credibility of each individual. And I think Johnny Depp was more credible than Amber Heard. I can't say what really did happen, if anything did happen between either of them. But looking at what the jury saw, I would probably come to the same conclusion.
Why do you think this trial garnered so much attention? I mean, it went on for weeks, and people would just talk about it at work, at home, everywhere. There's so many people that just couldn't get enough.
Well, we are in a celebrity-centric world. I think that's probably the main thing. Johnny Depp is one of the biggest movie stars in the world. Amber Heard may not be nearly as big, but she's still a celebrity in her own right. And she's been in different movies, in big blockbuster movies, if you will. You couple that with the allegations, and they were very serious allegations by both parties. I think it was just a perfect storm.
So why are defamation suits so difficult to prove? Because it really, there has to be a lot of legal hurdles to overcome.
There are, and you're correct. They are very difficult to prove. For a defamation case, you have to prove two things. Number one, that the information that was stated or written was false. The second part, which potentially could be the more difficult thing to prove, is that the individual said or wrote those things with actual malice, meaning they wanted to actually harm the other individual, either, again, physically, emotionally, or financially. And it is extremely difficult to prove that. One, it's also very costly to prove. And as you can see, the trial went on for 7 weeks. That doesn't include all the depositions and the subpoenas and all the work that attorneys did prior to that. So this cost both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard a tremendous amount of money in legal fees alone. And these are individuals who are very wealthy people. So Joe Schmo off the street potentially couldn't really do this because they couldn't afford to do this. So with that being said, unless you really have a very strong case and you have a bankroll in back of you, these things are next to impossible to prove.
So what happens now? Okay, so Johnny Depp won this award. I mean, and we expect Amber Heard to immediately, appeal this. I mean, is he ever going to see that money? What about the $100 million countersuit that Amber Heard's filing? I mean, how does this all end? I guess Johnny Depp got his reputation back. I mean, where do you see it?
Yes, I mean, I think that was one of his main goals, and both of their main goals for reputation. I think Johnny Depp won in that particular instance. Where do we go from here? Well, one, Amber Heard's $100 million countersuit is done. The jury only awarded her $2 million. They didn't find her credible, and they only found her successful in one of her particular claims. As for how Johnny Depp is going to potentially collect, number one, I wouldn't be surprised if Amber Heard appeals. And there's always an issue to appeal. So that is definitely going to be expected and probably will happen sooner rather than later. Johnny Depp's team has a couple different options. The main option, and which a lot of people do, and I would be one of the, if I was his attorneys, I would try to do this, is go get a settlement from Amber Heard. Okay, you're owed $10.2 million, $10.3 million. I understand that Amber Heard has stated that she doesn't have that much money. Well, what do you have, or what can we do to make a lump sum payment? Johnny Depp is a wealthy man, so I don't know if the $10 million is really going to affect his life as it would other people, but I'm sure he could work out a negotiation with them. In the alternative, what they can do is they can file for the matter for the money to be put into a judgment. What that means is they have to go and proceed to another court to saying that Amber Heard owes a debt of $10.3 million. That would be reduced to a judgment. Then they would be able to go collect that money from all future earnings that Amber Heard has, or different properties, or different investments that she has. So that's another way to go about it. That takes a lot longer, though, so he may not be getting that money for years and years and years. That's why it's always better if you negotiate the settlement. All right, the top end is 10.3. We see you don't have that. Maybe they'll get 5 million and say, all right, we're all good. We'll have a nice day. That's what I would do.
Does this mean it's the end of the Me Too movement?
Not even close. In my opinion, not even close. In fact, what this would do is going to open the floodgates potentially, because people got to understand something. The Me Too movement is not just for women. Johnny Depp showed that the Me Too movement is for men as well. He was a alleged victim of Me Too, if you will. And he had his day in court, and it looks like he won that. So I don't think the Me Too movement is going anywhere. This may empower people, if anything.
Anything else, David, we can touch on before we let you go about this trial and the circumstances and everything surrounding it?
It was a very interesting trial. I will tell you that. There was a ton of evidence in there against both parties. This is not something that's going to happen every day, obviously. So if people are watching and thinking, oh, well, somebody said something or wrote something about me on Facebook or Instagram or some type of social media, and they think, well, now I can, go sue them, I would strongly caution them against that. There is still the freedom of speech, and a lot of times things do fall under that category. Obviously, this did not happen in the trial, but I would strongly caution people to proceed in any types of lawsuits, because they are expensive, and like I said earlier, they're very difficult to prove.
All right, criminal attorney, former prosecutor David Gelman joining us to just kind of break down this Amber Heard, Johnny Depp defamation trial and everything surrounding it. We appreciate your insight, David. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Have a nice day.